exterior. We start at the right wing. Oh, sorry. We got to put the flaps down. Sorry, I'm not used to pre-flighting. I don't pre-flight anymore. My students do it for me.
Oh, that's a flap down?
All right, yeah. So that's the flaps are down. So basically, we just start from the right, work our way over. So the flap spring, we check that by basically we pulled it out. You can hear the spring kind of engage. And then we kind of just like give it a little shake.
Nice
like,
and firm?
I mean, yeah, don't like...
No, you don't want to yank it.
Just make sure it's nice and intact because it's going to have some, I mean, it's going to have about 100 mile an hour air hitting it. So you want to make sure it's nice and steady. Like if I pull it and it like comes out, then obviously I don't want to fly this plane.
Is this electric or is it cable control?
It's cabled.
Cable?
Yeah, it's a manual handle right there.
Oh, that thing in the middle?
Yeah, thing right in the middle. You pull it up and let it go. You got to pull it back and then push the button down and then you let them down. You have to hold the button down the whole time you let it down.
Wow.
There's 3 settings. There's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm checking the connection here. Make sure the bolt's on fine. Making sure I'm not seeing like any wear or anything, any cracks or anything like that. Like you can even like give a little tug on it, make sure it's not loose. Right?
They don't get lubricated, do they?
No, not really. When they switch these out, they already come in like lubricated and everything. With the ball joint and everything in it. And then I'm gonna check. You can kind of see these little bars right here.
Yeah.
Those are like the tracks that they're on. They're basically like kind of on a roller where it rolls.
Oh, there's a roller up there?
So yeah, I'm just making sure that there's no like major cracks or anything on that. Looking here. I'm just checking the overall condition of the flap.
Okay.
Like just from this side, and once I get around I can check the bottom of it on that side easier. And I'm also checking the overall condition of the wing. Just making sure there's no like major dents or like any screws missing, any major cracks. Like if I see like some cracking like in the paint or something, that's not a big deal. But if I saw like, you know, it's like a crack in like the metal here, I'd be concerned about that. Or any like major missing screws or anything like that. Like if I was missing like 2 of these screws or even like 1 of these screws, I'd be like, hey, let's go get a screw on that. So yeah, where we at here, linkage, did that. All right, aileron movement hinges. So this is the aileron. This is how we steer from left and right.
Oh, this is it?
Yep, so if you watch, if I push up on it, notice the yokes went to the right.
And this makes the plane what? Turn right?
Make the plane turn right.
Oh.
If I push down, the yokes go left. And I'm also looking across through the window at the other aileron. And if I go up, it should move down.
Oh, they're out backwards?
Yeah, they're opposite of each other.
And these are called what?
Ailerons.
Ailerons?
Aileron, it's spelled like that.
Oh, ailerons.
Yeah, aileron.
Aileron movement. That's the flaps.
Yeah,
wing,
these are
wing
the flaps. These are the ailerons.
Aileron
we use these on landing and sometimes takeoff to help give us more lift. These help us turn. And we'll get to what those do when we get over there. So yeah, then we check the aileron and then I'm coming over to the wingtip. Yeah, overall, like as I'm walking, I'm still just checking the condition of the aircraft. Like this crack right here, I'm not really too worried about that. It's kind of just in the paint. There's a little bit missing here, but it's really not that big of a deal. This has all been looked at, passed, and passed. Like whenever we have something like this, the mechanics come out and they have certain specifications. Like a dent in the wing can only be like 0.042 like inches. Otherwise, past that, it has to be fixed. Or yeah, they have certain specifics to it. And then I'm checking the light, like make sure it's not cracked or anything like that. We'll go in and turn it on and check it here in a minute. I'm just checking the under condition of it. And then I grab the wing. And I actually shake the plane, like not super hard, but I give it a little bit. And I want to see the whole plane be real rigid. I don't want to see very much play in the wing. I see the whole plane has to move. The whole plane moves. I don't want to see too much play in the wing. If I do this and only the wing is moving, I got a real issue and we're not flying that plane. It means the spar in there is getting weak, which is holding the wing to the plane. And that could come off. Yeah, and that just happened recently in Embry-Riddle where an Iranian fighter pilot who was an FAA examiner had 27,000 hours, was on a check ride with a student, the wing fell off and they both died. There's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter how many hours you have, if you lose your wing, that's it. That's it. So yeah, that's why it's one of the most important checks I do is checking the wing spar and just checking the integrity of the wing basically. Yeah, and then I come back over, still just checking the condition. Like these dents are pretty minor. Like these are basically just from like pebbles hitting it, or like, you know, like even smaller insects can cause a dent. Like your bigger high speed. Yeah, we're moving at a pretty good clip. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm checking the underside of it. So this is what's called the leading edge, which is this right here, leading edge of wing. I'm checking for dents and damage. All right, so then I'm still just walking my way down the leading edge.
That's the leading edge.
Yeah, so this is the leading edge and this is the trailing edge.
Right?
Oh,
I
this
see.
is what's leading the plane because the plane's always going forward. So then I come down here, and this is the tie down hole. This is where we just put a rope if we're gonna leave it outside.
Okay.
For the night. And then this bad boy right here is our fuel vent.
A who?
The fuel vent.
Oh, a vent.
Yeah, we got to have a vent for our fuel because if not, it would create a vacuum.
Every tank has it.
From the water coming down, or the fuel coming down. So then while I'm over here, I'm going to check the condition of the tire, make sure I have some tread. Because believe me,
looks good.
A lot of students around here like to square off tires with their landings.
Oh.
Sometimes if you land with the brakes in, you'll square off a tire.
Yeah, flat.
Yeah, it'll flatten out. You won't have very much tread.
You don't want that on a tire.
Yeah, a real squared off tire, you're going to know when you're taxiing because it'll be like, doo, 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 doo. It almost feels like your tire's flat.
Yeah.
I'm also making sure it's not flat or like dry rotted or anything.
Not
like cracks. So this looks good to me. There's a pin right here. I'm making sure that this is in. There's a little loop that comes through here and then both stick out like that. That's basically what's keeping the tire to it. So I'm making sure that's on there. And then I'm looking back here at the brakes.
Yeah.
So I'm checking the rotor. I'm checking the pads right here. Make sure it has brake pads. Make sure it's not metal on metal. I'm checking the caliper here to make sure that there's no any brake fluid leak. Any fluid underneath, any like snakes, twigs, anything that's going to be in the brakes that's going to prevent me from stopping. And I'm also checking the brake line back here to make sure there's no fluid coming out of it.
Okay.
Making sure my connections back here are good, making sure this pin's here. And this main strut right here, I want to make sure I have about 4 fingers.
That's called a strut?
This is the strut right here. And there's it's basically...
Like a shock absorber?
Basically like a piston in there, kind of. It's like almost like a hydraulic piston,
okay.
But it's more pneumatic because it's air. There's compressed air there, so basically when we land, it has a little bit of give to it. Because it's a training aircraft, so they're expecting us to have some hard landings.
Some bumps, yeah.
So this right here is what we call it's called the fuel sump.
Fuel sump?
Fuel sump. And that's what this comes in handy for. I'm going to check the fuel. And
for what? For water?
Any contaminants or water, because the fuel's pretty light, so any water or contaminants or like dirt, soot is going to sink to the bottom. This is the lowest part of the tank.
Okay, I see.
So this is where all the crud's going to come out of. So I put this up to it and I just push up, get a pretty good decent amount, and I'm looking at it and make sure it's blue. You want blue color. You can smell it so you can get used to the scent of it. Get a little taste if you want. No, I'm just kidding, don't drink it. But yeah, make sure it's blue. You don't want it to be clear. If it's clear, you're in trouble.
Clear what? Like water?
Yeah,
like
if
water?
It's clear like water, it could be jet fuel. Jet fuel's clear. Or if they mix 2 different kinds of fuel, they'll go clear. Like if they mix a red fuel and a blue fuel, like which are 2 different aviation's fuels, they'll go clear.
So you don't want that?
You don't want that. You don't want clear. You can't really mix fuels. It's not good.
So what kind of fuel is this?
This is 100 low lead.
Low lead?
Yeah, it's 100 low lead, which is also used in some other like.
Can you use that on cars or no?
Some cars, yes. Some people put it in, but yeah. And then I always put it back in. So yeah, I'm checking to make sure there's no like crap in the bottom, any water, anything like that. I put it back in. While I have that open, I just go ahead and verify how much I have in. You see the little thing sticking out there?
Yeah.
It's called the tab. When the
metal?
Yeah, right. When it's right at the bottom of the metal, that means we have 17 gallons.
Like all the way at the bottom?
Yeah, all the way at the bottom of the tab. So it's a little bit above it, so we probably have like close to 20 gallons.
What are you talking about? This piece of metal that's attached here, or?
That one right there.
Yeah, okay.
The one that's sticking out a little bit.
Like the, yeah, on an angle.
Yeah, did you get to see it?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a little thing sticking out right there.
And that's
in the middle. That's the tab. So when the water's just touching the bottom of that flat piece, it's at 17 gallons.
Okay.
And then
right now we're full.
Fuel is 24. So right now we got about probably 20 gallons on this side, which is like this plane burns 8 gallons an hour.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh yeah, so we got plenty of time.
Yeah, and this what's this here?
This right here, this is our fresh air intake. So we have like this thing right here in the seat, and on the other side too, where we can move. It has like a little notch and
controls how much air you're getting.
Air in there. On days like today, we probably will have it closed because it's rather cold.
Yeah, it is.
But in the summer, it's awesome. Or if somebody's not feeling well or something like that, you get some fresh air on them.
Somebody's got the cold, you don't want to breathe their shit.
That too, yeah. But yeah, it helps out a lot, especially with like motion sickness and stuff. Like if you get some fresh air on you, it feels good. All right, where was I? All right, so we drained water. We checked the underside of the wing. Check the top side. Check the top side of the wing, and we check the fuel. So now we're gonna come to the engine. This part up here, the whole power plant area, and then from here to basically where the tail starts is called the fuselage.
Fuselage.
And then basically where we stop and where the tail begins, that's called the empennage.
The who?
Empennage.
Empennage.
And I think they have it here. Empennage.
Okay, empennage. So this is right here is called the engine?
Yeah, it's just the engine, the nose,
and
the
then
power
the fuselage.
plant. Yeah. So I'm just checking the overall condition, no cracks in the windshield. During the summer, there could be a heap of bugs.
Yeah.
We have window cleaner and stuff in there. The line guys will do it.
Okay.
So just make sure your windshield's clean, because the last thing
There's no wipers on this.
There is no wipers on this, no, because even if you fly in the rain, the wind just pushes it off from your prop and how fast you're going. So now we're gonna pop this bad boy open. So you just screw it 90 degrees like that, and it pops out. And they pop out like that. So they're basically like just these little. You stick them underneath like that, and then they clamp down like that.
Gotcha.
See? Like that. And then when you want to put them back in, you twist it and make sure it's 90 degrees, so that way the airflow is nice and smooth over it.
You don't want that wind making it open.
Yeah, you always got to think about how it's going to act in very fast wind. So this is it. This is the inside of it. Oil filter, distributor. You know, I'm just checking everything under here. I'm checking to see if there's like oil pooled up or
anything unusual.
Anything unusual. If there's any like major holes in my hoses.
There are injectors here.
These are the spark plugs.
Spark plugs.
It's a carbureted engine, which is down here.
It's a carburetor.
Yeah. And then I'm also over here with those magnetos that I was talking about. So I'm looking at these wires and making sure everything's good, making sure it's connected. Okay, and then I'm just checking to see if anything's unusual, looking at the engine, looking at the top of the engine. No leaks, nothing like that. And I'm going to check the oil quantity with this. So anywhere between 6 and 8 quarts is fine. So it's over 6.
Over 6.
Pretty new oil, so
yeah, it looks nice.
We're good to go on that front.
How often do they oil change? Every 1,000 miles, you said?
Every 50 hours.
50 hours?
Every 50 hours, which is, yeah, it gets pretty dirty. It gets pretty dirty pretty quick. Yeah, so this one just came up not too long ago. Yeah, and then just checking right here, making sure this is on, because this is basically my nose gear right here. Making sure this is nice and...
That's where steers is?
Not really the steering. The steering comes from this part right here, which like actually twists it. But this right here is basically what is like the strut. This is the strut mount for your landing gear, which comes straight down there, and it's also connected up through the engine. So I'm making sure these are like nice and tight and everything, because basically that's what holds everything in. So I'm just making sure everything's looking good, no major pools or anything like that. Like I said, we make sure it's nice and tight, and I give it a nice tug, because sometimes they'll twist and you'll think they're tight, but they're not, and you can pull them out. So I can pull on it, and they're in, and they're both facing that way. Forgot how much talking the first lesson was. Okay. Sorry, I skipped ahead here. Nose. So oil, magneto wires good. Exhaust leaks are fine. Oh, I forget about the fuel string. No, that's the Cessna. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, check that, and then let's see here. Oh yeah, the thing that we just lifted up. It's called the cowling. Cowling. This is called the engine cowling, which is just basically the engine cover.
Cowling.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know where they come up with these weird names, but they did. So then, yeah, I come back down here, and then checking to make sure that these are on right. You know, the nuts are fine, not missing any bolts or anything like that. Checking yet again the condition of the tire. That might be a little bit more extension than it needs to have, but it's not really that big of a deal. And then also making sure it has a little bit of grease on it is always good.
Looks like it's greased, yeah.
And then, yeah, just checking the condition of the tire, and also the underside if there's anything unusual. Like, sometimes you could look down here and there could be like just oil just streaking
down, all the way down.
And then that might be a red flag that, all right, maybe I'm leaking oil somewhere. And then checking your intakes here, making sure there's no like birds or anything like that, because they do
get caught.
Yeah, they will go. Like if it sits for a while, you'll get birds up in there. Same thing in here. This is the engine. These are the pistons, and this is how they cool. It's air cooled. Air comes in through here, goes in between these fins, and
cools it off.
Radiates the heat away and cools off the engine for us. And then still while I'm up here, I'm going to check the condition of the propeller. It's a little beat up from, you know, just like nicks and whatever, from air or whatever, rocks. But, you know, making sure there's no major like cracks or dents or major like nicks out of it. This seems pretty fine. And yeah, I'm checking the spinner also, making sure I'm not missing any screws or anything like that. Checking the front as well. And then I come down, check the exhaust pipes, make sure there's nothing cracked or anything like that.
Oh, that's where the exhaust is?
Yeah, this is where the exhaust comes out of. And yet again, we have
Another cowling?
Another side, so we can check the other side of the engine now. Make sure the hoses are on properly, make sure the wires here are all good. We're not leaking any fuel out of here. Turbo fuel line here, fuel pump's fine. Just basically making sure everything looks good.
These are, you said, spark plugs?
Yeah, those are the spark plugs. These are your rocker arms right here.
Four-cylinder engine?
Yeah, it's a four-cylinder engine. Horizontally opposed, which means they're set apart from each other. And then if you ever wanted to, I don't know why they give you this. This right here is your brake fluid.
Brake fluid? Okay.
Yeah.
Any steering fluid or no?
Nope, not any steering fluid. That's all just done through this right here, which is basically just like a pneumatic.
Okay.
We basically steer with using differential braking. So like we'll brake on this tire if we want to go left.
Oh,
On
okay.
the right tire.
If you want to.
But also the nose wheel will turn up to
where the braking
30
is.
degrees or something like that if you push the rudder. It's connected to the rudder. So when you push the rudder, the nose wheel will actually turn, which helps out a lot because the Cessnas don't have that. They have what's called like a castrating nose wheel. Well, kinda. A castrated nose wheel is a little bit different from that one, but a castrated nose wheel means you can spin in 360 degrees.
Oh, I see.
Which I hate those. But anyway, yeah, that one right there, if you push the rudder, it won't turn the nose. We strictly turn using differential braking in the Cessna. And this one, we could just push the rudder and then it'll help us turn, but we also use the brake as well.
And what's this right here?
That's what I'm getting to. That's called the gasculator, which is like basically our last fuel check before it gets into the engine.
So, oh, you're going to check it? Oh, I see.
Yeah, so we're checking the fuel that's in the line.
In the
that's
lines.
why we put that fuel pump on.
See the pressure.
Yeah, pressurize it. So now we're checking the fuel in the line, just in case something. I don't know why they put it in at this weird angle, but it's really hard to get the gas in.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
It's a terrible angle they put it in at, but yeah.
Looks blue.
Yeah, looks blue. Looks good to me. I mean, there's crap floating in it, but I think that was already.
Oh, you should have drank that, man. Let it go to waste.
I think that's from inside of my. Yeah. But anyway, yet again, checking all this side, making sure that the wing looks nice and connected. Make sure there's nothing in the fuel air. I mean the fresh air vent. Come back down.
Oh, you gonna check that tank too?
Yeah, we're gonna. Oh yeah, we checked that tank as well because they're two separate tanks.
Yes.
So we sump the fuel. Take a look at it. Looks nice and blue. There is crap floating in it, but I'm positive that's from my sweatshirt. I can feel like twigs or whatever I have in there. Actually. Not use that, just in case. That little amount probably wouldn't do anything because obviously we have fuel, like there's strainers and everything else in there. Fuel filters. But anyway, same thing. Checking calipers, brakes, all of that. Making sure I have about 4 fingers here. Making sure the tire looks good. Probably could use a little bit of air, but whatever. Making sure that pin's in, no bald spots. Making sure I don't have any leaking. And then I check the fuel vent, make sure it's there. Make sure it's not like leaking or anything. And then I start working my way back on down. Check this fuel tank yet again. That one's well over the tab. So yeah, we got lots of fuel.
Oh yeah.
And just checking this. This guy right here is our stall warning tab.
Who?
Stall warning tab. So if it's down, your stall warning horn won't be going off. If we get close to a stall, this will go up like that because the air will push it up. That means when we're getting close to the stall, and we'll hear a little beep inside the aircraft, and that's letting you know you're getting close to a stall, like you better do something.
Like bring the nose down?
Just before you stall. Yep, nose down, power on. If you don't have it in, then take the flaps out. All right, this right here is our pitot tube.
Pitot tube?
Yeah, well, most of the time they look like a tube, but Piper made it look like a fin.
What's a pitot tube?
This will give us the information from our altimeter, our airspeed indicator, and our vertical speed indicator.
Wow.
It's very important.
Very important.
Air comes in through here, comes out through here, and basically it tells us how fast we're going through the air, our altitude, and how fast we're climbing or descending.
Okay.
So it's very important. Yeah, so we make sure that these two holes aren't like iced over, blocked, or anything like that. And then
wow.
I wouldn't be, especially in the wintertime,
yes, I was gonna
don't
say
just go up and touch this. Because we have pitot heat inside the aircraft, so we can turn heat. This is heated if we're going through like clouds or any icing conditions, and it can get very hot, like to where.
Oh, so you don't want to touch it?
Oh no, it'll burn the crap out of it.
Oh, I thought you said if you touch it, it'll malfunction.
No, like you can touch it now, but like like real cold days or anything like that, if someone just flew it, I wouldn't go up and just stick my hand to it. It could be really hot, like especially the jet ones, like the jetliners, they can melt your skin to it.
So what's it called again?
This is the pitot tube.
Pitot tube. Okay.
So Piper made it look like
That's
a fin
very
for some
important.
reason. Very important.
Yeah.
Then yet again, checking the overall condition of the leading edge, the wing, coming to the tip. Do my quick little shimmy shake. Yeah, there's no play in the wing.
Yeah, the whole plane is moving.
Yep. And then I'm checking the condition, checking the aileron. When I move this up, that one better move down. When I move it down, that one better move up. And I'm also checking to make sure the yokes are moving in the right direction.
I see.
Because it has happened before, mechanics have put flaps on backwards, and planes have crashed because of it.
Wow.
Yeah, because like they put them on, they get them mixed up and they put them wrong. So like when you turn when they turn to the right, both of their ailerons both went up.
Oh, that's so you can only go one direction.
Basically, it's acting like a flap at that point. You'd have to turn using nothing but rudder.
Yeah.
And you'd be in for a world of hurt. Like yeah. We got an old saying, like, would you rather be on the ground wishing you were in the air, or being in the air wishing you were on the ground? Obviously, I'd rather be on the ground wishing I was in the air. So, yeah. That's why we double check our checks and make sure everything's good to go, because we don't want
this is done before every flight?
Every flight you do this for every flight. And generally it goes a lot faster, especially without me sitting here talking through everything. Once you guys start doing it enough, like after like the third or fourth time, when you guys come in, I'll say, all right, go pre-flight. I'll meet you guys out there. Like, I'll let you guys go and pre-flight and everything. And when I come in, I basically just do a quick walk around, make sure everything looks good. I'm only required to check the fuel and the oil. So all I got to do is make sure we have enough fuel and we're good on the oil. But I always do a quick walk around, check the spars, just make sure everything looks good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes by a lot faster. Most of the time, students pre-flight in less than 5 minutes. Like, it takes no time at all. All right, so then, yep, checking the flap just like the other one. Making sure it's nice and good.
This is the left flap.
This is the left flap. They're both connected. You don't have like a left or right flap lever. Once you put flaps in, they both go down. Now I'm checking the empennage, checking my radios. This is the COM1, COM2, ELT, NAV1, NAV2.
Wow.
So these are our communications right here. This is our emergency locator transmitter. So when we turn that on, that'll send up the ping so people can find us. And these are our navigation. So if we're using ILSs or a VOR, which we'll talk about that way on down the road, we'll use those.
Okay.
Anyway, yep, then just checking the vertical stabilizer here, making sure all the screws are in, it's nice and connected. Fresh air vent's also up there, comes in from the top. Right here's a data plate. We're making sure that's on there. That's basically like kind of like your license plate. It tells you the manufacturer, basically like the VIN number for this aircraft. It's basically like your registration for it. So make sure it has the data plate. Now I'm checking, this is the elevator, also known as the horizontal stabilizer. And actually this is a stabilator. And the reason why it's called a stabilator is because the whole thing moves.
Okay.
So the whole thing moves, and this is what helps us, our nose go up and down. So basically this is what helps us climb or descend. And I'm checking to make sure that it is just moving properly. I can move, and if I pull it up, my controls should go back, and if I push it down, my controls should go forward.
Okay, I see.
I'm looking for, and I'm also looking at this right here would be my servo tab, also a trim tab. So it should move in the same direction as my aircraft, and basically this is helping the aircraft not flutter. So like if we start flying, it's helping so that it won't do this while we're flying. Because sometimes you can get in situations, especially Piper's had an issue with the tail flutter, where the tail would literally start doing this. And they have some videos of a plane flying next to it, and it is scary. It's scary. This looks like it's paper. It's scary. So yeah, that kind of helps with it. And that's also our trim tab, which we have a wheel inside the plane that we use to help us. It's basically like our poor man's autopilot. If we have to constantly keep pulling back to hold our altitude, we can just take this trim tab and pull it back a little bit, and it moves it out for us, and it'll keep it in the position that we trim it to. So that way we can basically like let go of the control and maintain level flight if we want.
Like cruise control almost.
Almost, yeah. Like, I mean, you still got to monitor it. See, I'm checking the light here, checking the beacon here, making sure my antennas are fine. This is the rudder. That's what we push with our feet.
For what,
move
turns?
out this way, and it's called what yawing is. So like if we're flying like this, it'll turn the plane in this direction. We don't really use it for turning, we use it for coordinating the plane. So like sometimes when we turn, the butt will slip out a little bit.
Yeah.
So we'll push on the rudder to bring it back and to make sure we're nice and coordinated.
Oh, okay.
So all this is
I
as
see.
streamlined as possible. Because the less drag we can have on the plane, the better. Because it's an easier ride and it just it acts better. So yeah, still walking around, checking the condition, checking the leading edge here. Looks fine. Check the underneath, make sure everything looks good.
This is called a climb or rear what now?
This is the stabulator.
Stabulator.
The whole thing is the horizontal stabilizer.
Stabilizer.
But the thing that moves, which is the whole thing, is the stabulator. Yeah, and this is what helps us climb and descend. Right here is where that battery, the ELT battery, is located. So it's what charges this thing and sends up the ping so people can find us. And then just checking the overall condition of the aircraft. Here we are, and we're back. Where we started. Now we're ready to get inside of the plane and to fly. So you're flying first. All right, so then you go ahead and hop in, I'll hop in, and then you're hopping in the back.
All right.
And then
I go to the back first?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what would be the easiest way to go about this to try and switch. If you should probably sit on that side, so when you guys switch, he can come out this way, and then you can come out. I'm not really sure, but let me move my backpack for you.
Do these seats move at all, or?
Yeah, these ones do. So you can twist this forward like that, and you can move that one forward, and then it also has the...
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Let me get out of your way real quick.
Okay. All right. What's up, buddy? So, is there somewhere where I could plug the headphones here, or?
What's that?
Do I need to put headphones on or no?
You can, yeah. And your jacks are right here.
Gotcha.
You have a big one, which is the headphone, which is this one, and you have a little one, which is the microphone.
Oh, so there's two holes here?
Yeah, they're separate sizes, so they only go in one way. And yours are right here.
So if we decide we want to continue taking classes, we have to buy these, or?
No, you don't. You could borrow the headphones.
Did I put them in right? Once they fit, that means they went in right?
Yeah, if they went in, that means they went in right. Sorry, I gotta fix my earphones. Things make me so upset.
Are you sending?